Yo, what is up? It is your boy X here, and this is gonna be part four to the awaited series of What If Naruto Had Deadpool's powers. So, before this gets started, I kind of just want to say sorry for the delay on this series. I know you guys actually hit the like goal a little bit of back ago, but sadly there hasn't been a lot of time for me to record or rank scripts. I actually wrote this one today and gonna be posting it tomorrow. So yeah, right after Thanksgiving. I might be doing a double upload tomorrow, the day you guys see this. So, be hype about that. It'll most likely be what if Deku was Datara. But other than that, let's get into it. Okay, so we last left off with what's it called? Naruto actually helping Hiruzen take down Orochimaru, and that little Konoha Crush arc being dealt with. Also, before I keep going, I just want to say sorry for any background noise because as much as I wish there wasn't, there will be since Thanksgiving. There's a lot of noise outside, people outside. But with that out of the way, we're gonna be starting the Tsunade retrieval arc. Okay, so Naruto will basically be resting when he'll be called to see Hiruzen by Ananbu. Naruto will just kind of get his stuff and be like, okay. This is when he will then go to see Hiruzen, and he'll then get there to see Jiraiya and Hiruzen. Jiraiya will then tell Naruto that they're going to go off to find Lady Tsunade, the next Hokage, and Naruto will just kind of be like, alright then, understanding the fact that Hiruzen's getting old and Jiraiya would not be a very suitable Hokage. Since he knows that, Naruto will already know, since that, he'll just basically be like, alright. And Naruto won't have to really be persuaded since Jiraiya helped him out in a big way, teaching him the Rasengan and all that stuff, so Naruto will already learn the Rasengan. So, Jiraiya, instead of teaching him that, he will actually tell him about the third and fourth Raikage's lightning cloak ability. Naruto will actually be kind of intrigued, knowing that it grants him immense speed and strength. And along the way, Naruto will actually try to master it. This is when they'll go to the hotel from the original canon, and Naruto will then be chilling until suddenly there's a knock at the door. This is when Naruto will sense bad intent and teleport behind them, jabbing a Rasengan into Kasame, catching him off guard, and then try to kick Itachi. But he'll dodge this, and this is when Naruto will then start being like, wow, so you're the famous Itachi. Kind of disappointing. He'll then be on an even ground with Itachi taijutsu-wise and start going until Kisame comes in and chops one of Naruto's arms clean off. Naruto will just be like, fuck, man. The fuck is this? And be like, ah. He'll then run away for about 5 seconds and a new arm will regenerate and Kisame and Itachi will be kind of shocked. This is when Naruto will basically keep running until he separates the two a tiny bit. This is when he'll then go into combat with Kisame and Itachi at the same time and start getting overwhelmed pretty easily. This is when Kisame will then start slashing and end up cutting Naruto's hand off. Naruto will have to retreat a tiny bit and regrow his limb. This is when Naruto will then teleport behind Itachi and kick the back of his head, knocking him to the ground, and try to rush at Kisame and throw Rasengan, but this time Kisame will actually absorb it with Samehada. This is when Naruto would then jump back and think, holy shit, this is going to be a problem. He would then go Fire Phoenix Jutsu and blast it right at Kisame, seeing as he looks like a shark, so Naruto was just like, yeah, this shark man, he's going down. This is when he then gets into his serious self and actually decides that he needs to stop playing. He then says, I don't know if this move will work, but it's worth a try. This is when he'll then activate the lightning cloak, a really buffed down version of it, however, and it'll only be active for 5 minutes, just enough. So this means that he's able to hold them off for a bit, since he's relative to the strength of the fourth Raikage, relative. Calm down, guys. But yeah, he starts holding them off. He starts giving some very heavy hits, and since he has amazing regeneration and amazing stamina as well as durability, he just starts holding them off. And this is when Sasuke will then come in out of nowhere and be like, Itachi! He'll then come in with his Chidori, and Naruto will then teleport behind Sasuke and say, I got you. This is when Naruto and Sasuke will then both end up fighting Kisame and Itachi with, what's it called? What's his name? Sasuke fighting Itachi and Naruto trying to take out Kisame. This is when, out of nowhere, after about 5 minutes of fighting with taijutsu and a little bit of other things, Naruto will then get put into a genjutsu that the Nine Tails actually helps break out of pretty easily. This is when Itachi will decide that he's had enough and he needs to get Naruto, so he decides to use a little bit of a stronger genjutsu. This is when Naruto will kind of pass out a little bit, and then he'll proceed to grab Sasuke and almost put him in the Tsukiyomi. But this is when Jiraiya comes in out of nowhere, and Naruto wakes up suddenly thanks to the Kyuubi and helps Sasuke and then retreats with him. This is when Jiraiya, Sasuke, and Naruto will then stand and get ready to fight, and Jiraiya would activate his Toad Mouse Jutsu. This is when Sasuke would try to rush at Itachi, but Naruto would actually teleport in front of him and tell him that it's not smart. This is when they then get behind the legendary Sannin and they say, we'll attack together. This is when Itachi then gets a little worried and sweat drops, since Naruto himself was able to put a decent fight up against Kisame and Itachi. Granted, they weren't going all out, but he was still able to put up a fight. This is when Itachi basically uses his Amaterasu and gets away, pretty simply. Okay, so this means that Sasuke didn't end up getting Tsukiyomi, so he'll actually be fine, and he ends up tagging along with them. This is when Sasuke then thanks Naruto and says, thank you for having my back there, and instead of trying to stop me completely. Naruto just kind of grins at him and says, of course, man, I couldn't let you lose or die on my watch to him. And this is when they then fist bump each other. They then walk up to the bar, and this is when the original thing with Tsunade happens. And Tsunade actually ends up saying, why did you bring this little Uchiha with you? Isn't he the last one? Shouldn't you guys be putting him under special watch to make sure he doesn't go extinct? And this is when Sasuke will get very irritated, and Naruto will tell him to stand down. This is when Tsunade would then start bitching about complaining about how the Hokages, about how the Hokages are this and how they're not as great as they should be. This is when Naruto will actually get extremely aggravated and be like, what do you know? What do you know about that? What would you know about that? Like, you've spent the past couple years drinking your life away, and the Hokage have actually risked their lives for the village. Also, isn't the first Hokage your grandfather? Some granddaughter you must be, disrespecting your own grandfather who gave his life for the village and started everything. This is when Tsunade would then actually get very pissed, and she'll then smash the table. And this is when Naruto will then say, oh, you want to take this outside? Teleporting behind her and holding a kunai to her neck. This is when Tsunade will then be like, gladly. They'll then step outside, and Tsunade will then proceed to say that she'll beat him using only one of her fingers. Naruto would grin, Sasuke would grin, and Jiraiya would be like face palming like fuck. Like, she does not know what she's getting into, because Jiraiya knows himself that Naruto is nobody to be messed with. This is when Tsunade will actually try to hit the ground with her finger, and Naruto will easily dodge, teleporting behind her, and Tsunade will try to punch him. And this is when Naruto will throw a thunderous kick, which will send Tsunade flying back. This is when they will end up fighting for a little bit with taijutsu, and Tsunade will actually end up breaking her promise about using one finger. This is when Naruto will smile a bit. He'll then create a clone and jab a Rasengan into her back, making her a little stunned. He'll then start teleporting all the way around her and leaving little dashes and cuts all over her body, making it a little hard for her to fight and move. She'll then get extremely aggravated, and this is when Naruto will say, some legendary Sannin you are. What a waste of a human. This is when Tsunade will get pushed over the limit and actually activate her seal. This is when she'll then basically kill Naruto, supposedly, and blow Naruto's head off. And this is when Naruto's body just kind of lays there on the ground for about 5 seconds. Tsunade will then say, I killed your brat, Jiraiya. He deserved it. And Jiraiya will then kind of just have a calm expression on him. And this is when Jiraiya will be like, nothing? No reaction from you? This is when Sasuke will then point behind her, and Naruto will legit punch a hole right through her stomach with nothing but sheer strength. This is when he'll then kick her head, knocking her out clean, and due to her little seal, she's able to regenerate everything. This is when, in a couple of minutes, she actually wakes, not in a minute, in a couple of hours, or days actually, she ends up waking up in the village. This is when she'll then be like, okay, I acknowledge it, you beat me. And then she basically grows kind of fond to Naruto. This is when, oh, I forgot to mention, she actually put up her necklace for bargain as well as promise to come back. So she ends up giving him her necklace, and Naruto actually treasures it a bit, knowing that it's from the first Hokage. This is when Naruto will kind of just acknowledge her, and they'll actually be start to gain that Tsunade and Naruto relationship that they gained in the original canon. Okay, so gonna go ahead and time skip. Sasuke doesn't actually feel inferior to Naruto due to the fact that Naruto, instead of just surpassing him in every single step, every single time that he gets a little stronger than Sasuke, Naruto tries to help the gap in power by teaching Sasuke a new jutsu or trying to tell him what he's failing on and helping him become better. So Sasuke actually feels like he's getting even stronger than he would with using that little seal that Orochimaru had originally left on him. This is when Sasuke, during the nighttime, will actually get approached by the Sound 4, and this is when Sasuke will actually deny it. This is when they will then get into a fight, and hearing the noises of a battle, Naruto, actually being kind of near it, actually decides to go check it out. This is when he then teleports there and sees Sasuke fighting against the Sound 4. This is when Naruto teleports behind Sasuke and says, "I can't believe you started a fight without me, Sasuke." And this is when Sasuke will then grin and say, "Thanks for coming. I really needed the help." This is when they will both go back to back and start whooping the Sound 4, with Sasuke actually using his little curse mark and having a little bit of pain while he does it, realizing that it's eating away at his chakra. This is when the Sound 4 will actually activate their curse mark, stage 2, and things will get a little bit interesting. This is when Sasuke will activate his 3 Tomoe Sharingan in both eyes, and Naruto will activate the lightning cloak. They'll then both proceed to destroy, and I mean manhandle, the Sound 4 like they were nothing. And after that, they then kind of just chill for a little bit. A couple days go by, and this is when Kinimaru actually gets word about the fact that they were able to take out the Sound 4 and incarcerated them, meaning they basically put them in prison, the Naruto World Prison, and he'll try to come take them away. This is when Naruto and Sasuke will actually deal with him very easily with a little bit of difficulty, since he's actually very, very strong. And this basically means Sasuke will end up staying in the village. There will be no such thing as Sasuke leaving due to inferiority or the Itachi thing. Of course, he will still want power, but he won't go about it in the same way that he did in the original canon. But with that being said, that's wrapping up part 1 to Naruto. What if Naruto had Deadpool's powers? Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna need 30 likes for the next part. And in the next part, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a surprise due to the time skip that I'm gonna be doing. Of course, the training arc with Jiraiya. Sasuke may or may not come along, just foreshadowing. But other than that, guys, Zether out. Peace.